Back. So we're talking to the Honorable Osei-Asare. Let's not forget that beyond Public Accounts Committee, she was also a deputy minister in the previous administration. Some people blame that administration, particularly the finance ministry, indeed MPP people, for the loss of the party at the election, because they said that the way your boss, and of course all of you in that team, managed the economy was not the best. So they give examples: inflation 54%. Growth was very low, kicked out of international capital markets, domestic debt exchange, pensions couldn't be paid, people were very, very angry, and a lot of that led to the kicking out of MPP. Do you take some responsibility for that?
Okay, Bernard, you know, every government, usually, when you come in your first year, you tend to come out with policies, because most of the time we inherit economy where inflation is high. It's the same, with the previous government. In 2016, inflation was around 15.4. So you always want to come up with policies, that will bring down inflation, policies that will help increase economic growth. Because remember, in 2016, we inherited economy that grew by 3.6%. And then when we were living in 2024, the economy had grown by 5.7%. In the midst of the Ukraine-Russian war, in the midst of the COVID-19, the unprecedented health emergencies that turned into economic crisis. And so every term or every era and what really describes it. But let me say that in 2022, inflation was 54%. But then when we were living in 2024, we had reduced it by half to 23.8%. And when we were living in 2024, we inherited a growth rate of 3.6, but then we left 5.7%. When we were living in 2024, the GDP was 2016, the GDP was around 219 billion. We left a 1 trillion GDP. So for no reason can someone say that they inherited a mismanaged economy.
Well, I'm sure we can debate that for a long time, but I'm not sure we have to.
It is not about debating it. It's the fact, and because as they claim that growth rate has gone up, inflation is coming down. What is it? It's the facts that they are telling you. And so you can't say that, you can't purport to believe one fact today, and then when someone says you want to disagree.
Well, there's so many different
yes.
things people can use. For example, when you have a debt exchange and people's pensions that they genuinely paid to state-sanctioned entities have been encumbered by no fault of theirs. That is not,
Bernard.
That is not it. There's no excuse for that.
Let me say that
we didn't incur those debts.
The debt restructuring was one of the most painful but necessary exercise that we needed to take as a country. And even with that, the government made sure they secured pension funds and others who could, for one reason or the other, could not sign on to the domestic debt exchange. It is true that the government entered into an arrangement with them, and the monies did not come in as and when we all agreed, but eventually they were paid.
People were given haircuts when the president said there was not going to be any haircut. Pensioners were picketing at the finance ministry for weeks, including the former CJ, asking for pensions to be exempt from the DDEP.
Nobody lost money on their principal. It is the interests. Nobody lost money. Yes, like I'm saying, that it is not something
an arrangement
pleasant
with the financial institution,
it is
and
not
then
something
they give you
pleasant.
how much you're going to earn, and then they come and tell you you're going to get a haircut. And the government doesn't even admit it. That's not just one. There's so many things. The president initially said there was no haircut, but there was a haircut.
I don't think there was no reduction on your principal. That is a fact.
But taking my interest is passport to a haircut. If I give a person 100 cedis, and I'm expecting both principal and interest.
Yes,
you can't tell me that if you reduce my interest, you don't give me a haircut.
I don't want to go back and forth over this. This is not something that we really wanted to do. But at that time, we felt that was the prudent way to safeguard the economy. Because one, our cedi had lost strength against our trading currencies. And because of that, it had ballooned the interest that we were paying on especially on our foreign debts. And so clearly we had to do something. We couldn't just sit idle and not do anything. Yes, it is something that it shouldn't even happen again. And
but
so that is why we took the steps.
You see, what the question I was asking was whether you want to admit part of responsibility, because there are litany of accusations. For example, you mentioned growth rate inflation.
Yeah.
You didn't mention the exchange rate. The exchange rate at the time you took over in 2016 was nowhere near the figure you left us with. When you left in 2024, the figure had gone.
No, but Bernard, you only talk about the exchange rate. Do you look at the quantum of development that we put in the last 8 years? Let's not just talk about...
As evidenced by what?
As evidenced by the Tamale interchange, as evidenced by the flyover, the Accra motorway, the Tema flyover, as evidenced by the various hospitals.
Your successor told me in an interview after the media budget, maybe you should play it. He said, you guys took 750 million, I don't know whether it's dollars or cedis, to do about 4 roads. He said you spent only about 100 million on the roads. In fact, maybe you should air it so that it's not be me saying it.
So that
listen to Atu, then you can comment. This is Atu Fossey.
I'll listen and then I'll comment.
Yes, just for clarity. Yeah, so just wanted to talk about it generally. First of all, you took a loan from what do you call it? Afri-Exim, $750 million. You've paid $100 million. The rest of the money you've spent it.
Are you giving a hypothetical example? You are saying something?
No, I'm saying something for that particular.
So you are saying that this is Sawam Road?
Yes.
The loan was how much?
It was $750 million from Afri-Exim.
All for the road? And
it was supposed to be for that road, I think about 3-4 roads. That particular road, Kumasi, the former majority leader's constituency, Swami Runabout, and a number of them, I think about. And you were saying that is what you are using the money for, $750 million. Now, all these projects have not reached anywhere, but yet you finish the money. There's no money there. Finish.
How much were they paid?
So in the case of the Sawam one, they paid about 100 and something million. I'm not too sure. 100 and it, but so slightly over $100 million.
So that's another example of...
that's another example. But Bernard, you know, these loans, we go to Parliament for them. So go and get the Hansard and check if it was only for the roads that we said we're going to use that 750 million for. There were other equally important things that we sought to use. You know, he said, I think. He wasn't even sure. He said, I think. There were other equally important things that we said we're going to use that 750 million for. It was not just for roads.
He also said he inherited 67 billion cedis in arrears.
Let's put it out there. It was not just for roads. There were other equally important. So I'm expecting him that clearly, if he feels for any reason the loans that we took was not used for what we said we were going to use it for.
So I think the 750 was not just for those roads.
It was not just for roads. Pick the Hansard.
But was the contractor paid the full amount? Or the loan wasn't for just the road?
It was for other equally important, not just roads, but there were other expenditures.
So it was to be part payment for the road?
It was other expenditures, not just roads.
So it wasn't meant for full payment for the road?
Let me tell you that nobody pays a road in full because you cannot finish the construction of a road in one financial year.
Fair enough.
So they are multi-year contracts.
Right.
So that in a particular year, you say, I'm going to use 100 million because I know I'm going to work to the tune of 100 million. So nobody pays the full cost of a road in 1 year. Nobody does that.
He also said that they had inherited arrears of 67 billion. They had audited some of the arrears. And at the time we did the interview, he said 3.5 billion had been disallowed. I think later on, his deputy said that the disallowed amount was much more. I mean, my point is that the successor government believes that you mismanage the economy terribly, and they don't think you have the moral right to be criticizing them. I remember when the president read the State of the Nation address, you slammed him and said that he was big promises, no plans.
When we also came in there was an arrears of 11 billion Ghana cedis. We had to send it to the Auditor General to validate. When the Auditor General validated, it came to 6 billion. So these things, let me tell you how it is. Usually when one government goes, another comes. People come with all sorts of, requests for payment that, they owed me this, they owed me that. So it is up to you.
So it's normal to do this audit?
It is very normal. We have seen it before. In 2016,
and you're saying it's not evidence of mismanagement?
It's in 2017, we saw it too. We got bills to the tune of 11-point-something billion Ghana cedis. And then we asked the Auditor General to validate it.
Fair enough.
Whooping 5 billion
was off
it. So 64 billion or 61 billion that he claims, they should validate it and come out with the correct figure. Because let me tell you, these are some of the things that people take advantage of, and then they put together.
But let's look at where the economy is now. Inflation is single digits, is now 8%. Currency exchange rates, now people are buying the dollar for 10.9, it's down from the 16. Economic growth is projected to hit around 6.3%. You have to admit that they are doing very well in the economic management.
Let me tell you, we have brought inflation down to 7.8% before. You understand? So, and I told you, in the first year of every government, go check Osafo Mafo, go check Kwabena Dufo, go check Setekwe. You will see that in their first year, what they seek to do is to bring inflation down, because usually they inherit an economy with very high inflation. It is good that, I mean, we put some measures in place, like we said, we put some measures in place that before leaving, we saw inflation coming down, we saw the economy grow to the tune of 1 trillion, and then we also brought our debt to GDP ratio down to 61%. Meanwhile, we inherited 72.5% in 2016. So clearly, they are fast forwarding, or yes, if I should put it that way, the reforms that we put in place. I am happy that they are going by those reforms, and that is what is yielding the results. But the most important thing is to sustain this to the end of beyond the IMF program. And that is where the fear is. That beyond the IMF program, have they put in buffers? Have they put in systems and strategies that will uphold or maintain whatever they have done? And for me, I'm happy with what they are doing. And I will say that the most important thing, the test will come after the IMF, and they have gone off the IMF program, and what they have put in place to sustain
may God give all of us life to see what will happen, and
I wish them well as well, because we all live in this economy.
We always want government to do well.
They'll be able to sustain it.
Wonderful.
And make sure that the reason why they were brought into power, people will.
Thank you, Abena Osei-Asare, MP for Etiwa East, and the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee. It's been good talking to you. Thank you so much.
And thank you for having me.
Yes.
Thank you for having me.
We hope to see you soon. Maybe after budget, they will talk to you in Parliament. Thanks for watching tonight's edition of the show. It's a big Parliament week. We'll continue with our coverage. Don't forget, on Thursday, we bring you live coverage of the budget. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.